violently Alan Presents. I can't even say it myself, and yet I named the channel. That's a good start, isn't it? That's a good start for this video.
Good start.
So this video is going to be quite a short one in comparison to the stuff we have uploaded, the sort of the Anne plays games she's never played before, and the baking stuff. It's going to be a prediction video of sorts. So anyone who knows us, or myself in particular, knows that we are interested in the world of sports entertainment. And tonight is the next big event for all elite wrestling, which is called Double or Nothing. It's the third. It's the third time they've run this event. So the first 2019, then obviously last year during the pandemic was the first sort of pay-per-view event that they ran without fans. And this year they're actually having a full capacity again. So for the first time in a year and probably 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
3,500 people are going to be descending on Daly's Place in, I think it's Orlando, but don't quote me on that one. I'll put an adjustment in if it is wrong. But the first time ever, we're going to have 3,500 people in the arena ready for the event. So we're hyped for it. There's a lot of people who are hyped for this. There's a lot of great matches on the card. So we just thought we'd do a prediction video because we tend to sort of like talk amongst ourselves and be like, hey, who do you think's going to win this, Leanne? Who do you think's going to win that, Alan? And so forth. Yeah.
So Alan knows more about wrestling. I go more by feeling. So it'll be interesting to see whether our predictions match up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So Leanne is the kind of person to be kind of influenced a bit easier, so I'm going to throw it over to her and get her impressions first. Yeah. I've already got mine. I've got my notes, double-sided notes. I've come prepared, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're going to go in order of non-title matches first, followed by the title matches, so they kind of leads into that more important matches almost. So first up, we're going to cover the Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo match. So there's been a bit of a build-up with this, with the sort of QT Marshall, Anthony Ogogo, Nick Camarato, sort of splitting away from the Nightmare family and turning against Cody Rhodes and his Nightmare family and Nightmare Factory, and they've all come from that facility. It's quite personal for Cody, this one. So he's sort of gone back and said he's going to use the American Dream name. He usually goes by the American Nightmare, which is his persona, his gimmick. The American Dream was Dusty Rhodes, his father's gimmick. So it's kind of a throwback to his father, an homage to that. Yeah. I get the feeling this will be the first match on the card.
Possibly.
So much like Drew McIntyre did at WrestleMania for WWE, he was the first one out to an actual live crowd in terms of for WWE, who didn't have a live crowd for over a year themselves. And he was the first one out, and that was like a big thrill for him. I think this will be the same for Cody. He'll be the first one to be back in front of a full capacity crowd.
Makes sense.
So I can see that, because obviously he is the owner of the company. He's the one of the executive vice presidents of the company. So I can see that sort of being that very much being the case. He has said as well he's going back to his original theme song.
Oh yes, so no more Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, so while Snoop Dogg, he's a massive wrestling fan. Yeah. He gets involved whenever he can, which is great. No, I got no problem with Snoop Dogg at all. Not my kind of music. I prefer the original theme, Kingdom. I forget the name of the band off the top of my head. It'll come to me. But they've said that they're going back into that as well.
Yay, I like that.
So one thing we need to cover this is Anthony Ogogo. He's quite new to the wrestling world. He's from Britain, so in a sense, this is a USA versus the UK kind of match. When they did the weigh-in on Dynamite just past Friday night, they had the flags in the background, Cody in front of the American one, Anthony Ogogo in front of the British flag.
And he had the Union Jack boxes.
Yes, Anthony Ogogo did, yes. It'd be weird if Cody Rhodes was wearing those, that'd be weird, but yeah.
Imagine.
Oh, drama! No, Turncoat's a red coat. But one thing important to note is that Anthony Ogogo is still green to the business. He has been trained in Cody Rhodes' facility, but he's also a former boxing Olympian. He has actually participated in the Olympic Games of boxing, or for boxing, I guess would be the proper thing. So, what do you think, Leanne? Who's taking this one?
My initial thought is that Cody's going to win because it's him taking the American Dream gimmick is one night only, they've been saying.
Yes.
And I really do not think they would let him lose while he's doing that tribute to his father. Plus, like you say, with Anthony Ogogo being fairly new, he's an Olympian, but in boxing, not wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's Cody Rhodes. So,
yeah.
I know he will lose matches, but they'll be significant. And I really don't think they're going to make him lose as the American Dream.
Ignore the background noise. Our cat's just decided to start playing with his toys.
He never plays with his toys, and he happens to play with it while we're recording.
Thanks, Rags.
He's having a great time, though.
Yeah, so I have to agree with you on this one for a slightly different reason. So Cody's going to win.
Yes.
The way I see it, though, is that Ogogo is going to lose it. He's going to flip, and he's going to either attack them or the factory, the new faction, which People Marshall is going to attack Cody Rhodes. Brandy is probably going to drop in about a month's time.
Yes.
She's pregnant. Cody Rhodes is due to have her child probably in about a month, give or take. I think because of that, it was very on the wire. It's like, would they elevate Ogogo and let Cody Rhodes slip away into that because of that? So there is going to be a point where he's going to go on paternity leave. Obviously, he wants to be with his wife and his child, which is fantastic. Be a family man, amazing. So stoked for the pair of them to have their child. But as you say, tribute to his father. I don't think they're going to have the American dream lose, but I think there will still be something that happens to put Cody out, as it were, so he can take some time off. And obviously spend time with his family.
Do you think they'd get him to win through disqualification, or is that going to be too cheap for the American dream, do you think?
I think, if anything, Anthony Ogogo will severely beat Cody. Yeah. And it'll be some sort of small package or a roll-up or something like that. Something really out of the blue, like a very, oh my god, did that just happen kind of ending,
And then the dog comeback kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. Much like Darby Allin has a tendency to do. Like, he's fought massive guys. He fought like Brody Lee and he won with the other. And there's such big guys. And there's no way that a Darby Allin should win against someone like a Lance Archer or a Brody Lee. And boom, there he goes. Out of nowhere. You know. And I think that it might be that sort of case. But I think with you on that one, I think Cody's going to win that one.
Cool.
Next one is going to be Adam Hangman Page against the Machine Brian Cage from Team Taz. So, two very big guys, very impressive specimens. Yes. Brian Cage is a beast, quite literally. Well, Hangman's not quite as jacked, shall we say, but he's quite tall, he's got that power, and he's quite athletic, and he's quite agile with it as well. Whereas Brian Cage is a bit more sluggish, a bit more bulky, so it's harder for him to fly around, but he has still got some impressive stuff himself. So I think that'll be a very high intensity match. Yeah,
definitely.
This has kind of come out a bit of nowhere. So there's been a bit of a weird feud between Team Taz, who's Brian Cage is a part of, and the Dark Order, and Hangman's kind of friend of the Dark Order. And I don't quite remember where this match has come from. It just seems to have gone, Hangman Page, Brian Cage, let's do that. Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, it should be a good match. I think that could be a possibly contender of match of the night. Yes. Because both those guys can go so hard. But who do you think is going to win this? Who do you got?
I want Hangman Page to win. Because I love the Dark Order and I love Hangman Adam Page and their association, and I just feel like it would be a great lift to them. Team Taz is fun, but I feel like the way they've been spinning it, what's his name? It's gone already. Cage. Brian Cage. My mind's getting mixed up because Adam Page and Brian.
Yeah.
Cage.
There's going to be a lot more of this because there's a few pages and cages in AEW right now.
So the way they've been spinning it, Cage has been getting the upper hand on Page because the rest of Team Taz have been getting involved and hitting from behind, that sort of thing.
Very, very guerrilla tactics.
Yes. So Hangman has been saying to Cage, you can't do this on your own. Come out here without them. Let's do this man to man. And I think that's going to be the tipping point, that Cage isn't going to be able to get the upper hand if he doesn't have that team behind him. Yeah. I don't think Team Taz are going to stay in the back if that's how it starts. But that's where the Dark Order can come in and sort them out, keep them in the back or keep them out, and then Hangman can get the upper hand and win. That's what I would like to happen, I think. I think I'm less sure on this one, but I'm going to go with it. So
I've got very much similar sort of things. So, So as you say, Team Taz, they're not going to stay in the back. There's no way in hell they're staying in the back. But then as a byproduct of that, there's no way that the Dark Order doesn't get involved. So Cage and Hangman will be in the ring. They'll be sort of fighting. There's someone will get thrown on the outside. Team Taz will turn up. Dark Order will turn up. Cage and Hangman will probably get back into the ring. Yeah. Like, maybe they'll get, hit each other and they'll just throw each other in or whatever. Something to that effect. And then the Dark Order and Team Taz will probably have a massive brawl outside. That'll head to the back. And then it will end up being a one-on-one match, Cage versus Hangman. I think that'd be great. Very much similar sort of venue. Hangman Adam Page is currently the number 1 contender. He's number 1 in the rankings.
Yeah.
So potentially for him to lose this, he would bump down quite a lot in the rankings. So they're not going to have that momentum that they've built up with Hangman and just throw it away on a match like this. I think the only way that they could have spun this for Hangman to lose if it was for the actual FTW championship. Brian Cage is the champion. AEW does not recognize that title as a world championship. Bit of a shame. I think it would be cool to have like a rebellious title defended every now and again. I think that would be a really good sort of thing to spin onto it. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. Hangman Adam Page, I think, is definitely going to win this one.
Rags recognises the FTW championship.
Rags is the FTW champion. Aren't you, kiddo?
He's just going to join us. It's fine.
So, next match that I've got written here then would be the... it's quite a fresh match, this one. It's Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. This has been building for a little while since Darby Allin was the TNT champion. He is no longer TNT champion. But for some odd reason, Scorpio Sky decided to team with Ethan Page. So Adam Page, Ethan Page. Here we go. This is going to get really confusing. So they've teamed up and they've sort of taken a bit of a vendetta against Darby Allin, and byproduct of that is Sting, the icon Sting, that Sting, not police Sting, makeup Sting. Thank you, Tony. And you know, growing up, a lot of these guys, their idol would be Sting. It'll be the Hulk Hogan's, the Ultimate Warriors, the British Bulldogs, Bret Hart, Sting, Ric Flair's. And you know, Sting is like 60s, he's in his mid-60s, and he's still willing to get in there and mix it up with the new guys. And you know, Scorpio Sky is fantastic talent. Ethan Page, great talent. Darby Allin, like, he's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, so on a technicality, Sky and Page did cost Darby Allin the title on Dynamite, it was 3 weeks ago, if I remember rightly, by attacking Sting. Didn't really do much for the match per se. Allin did get a little distracted, but to be fair, he was just getting the hell beaten out of him by Miro, which, you know, he's a specimen in his own right as well. This is actually going to be the first actual match for Sting as well for 6 years. So they had the Darby Allin and Sting versus Team Taz at Revolution in, I want to say March, it might have been February, but that was a cinematic match. That wasn't in front of a live crowd, that was pre-recorded. Kind of similar to what WWE have been doing with some of the Bray Wyatt stuff. But this is going to be the first time he actually steps into the squared circle in front of a live crowd. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited, but also quite nervous. Yes. Because Sting takes one bad bump.
I know.
And he could literally cripple himself.
Yeah. Anything could happen. Something could go wrong.
Yeah. So I firmly believe in this one. Darby Allin will be the workhorse. He will be... For all intents and purposes, it'll be a handicap match. It'll be Sky and Page against Allin. But then when Sky and Page are like on the ropes, as it were, he'll tag Sting in, he'll pull off a few moves, kick and tag back up to Darby Allin. Yeah. When those three guys are in the ring, I think it'll be quite fast paced. Yeah. Scorpio Sky, formerly of SCU, former tag team champion, fantastic, really high flying, great athlete. Same with Darby Allin, he's just willing to take any risk to do anything. Ethan Page, I'm not really as up to date with Ethan Page, but what I have seen, he is pretty good. He's not as much as a high flyer, but he's more of a grounded kind of guy, a bit more grappling, which, you know, it kind of complements all the styles there. This one is a hard one to call, as Page and Sky have been getting quite a large push recently. But on that, it's Darby Allin, and he's red hot. Everyone loves him, all the fans love him, regardless of having a title belt or not. And, you know, it's Sting. So, yeah, I'm sorry to you. What do you think?
I think the thing that is making me more unsure is that the last couple of weeks, Darby Allin has taken a huge beating.
Well, Dynamite, yeah, his ribs taped up.
Yes. So he's in bad shape. I still think he can go, for sure. He's like he's quite small, but he's one of the toughest guys there, I think, just for the willingness to put himself at risk and do some crazy stuff just to get that win. And it's being Sting's first in-ring appearance, like match anyway. I feel like Darby Allin and Sting are probably more likely to get the win. And I would like that. I love Darby Allin. His whole gimmick is amazing, and his talent. and paired with Sting, they're just the perfect pair, really.
Yeah, it's a shame Sting can't go to that level anymore.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, Sting's very last match before the last in-ring live match was against Seth Rollins for the WWE, I think it was the Universal title at that point. And it was Seth Rollins who, unfortunately, accidents happen, and he did suffer quite a severe neck injury, which did put him out of the ring for all this time. But yeah,
So I think, despite all the challenges, I think Darby and Sting will still be my pick. Partly, probably hoping because I want them to win, but I think that I think it would fit story-wise and sort of given the push maybe to get a rematch with Miro to get the championship back possibly.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that one. I think Sting and Darby Allin will win it. It'll be very hard fought for them. Darby Allin is going to take a hammering.
Yes.
But I think at the end of it, I do believe Sting will probably slap on the Scorpion Deathlock and probably get either the Scorpio Sky. We saw tap out to it already, and or Ethan Page into it, and they won't be able to take it, and they'll just tap out. And I think I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be Sting and Darby Allin, I believe.
Matching so far.
So far. Okay, so next match will be Stadium Stampede 2. So this is the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. So that's right. Okay, hang on. Dax Howard, Cash Wheeler, Sean Spears, Wardlow and MJF, who are the Pinnacle, with Tully Blanchard in their corner. Even though there's not really going to be a ring probably involved in this.
There are corners in stadiums.
Against Tito and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful. You've got Jake Hager, and you've got Sammy Guevara and the GOAT, Chris Jericho, who are the Inner Circle. So this has been a bit of a long burn. So we've had the whole thing with Jericho and MJF and their friendship, and MJF wanted into the Inner Circle. He joins the Inner Circle. They lose their tag team title match against the Young Bucks at Revolution in, again, I think it was February or March. And then it just sort of sparked from there, and MJF turned on them. They formed the new group, the Pinnacle. They put the Inner Circle out. The Inner Circle returns, and it's been quite a bit of a gang warfare, almost quite intense gang warfare, which has been fantastic. I think it's been a really good feud. So Pinnacle have said that they will accept the Stadium Stampede match if the Inner Circle agrees. If they lose, the Inner Circle will disband. They will be no more. So that will be that one less faction in the company, as it were. Props to Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho throughout this entire thing. Their promo work has just gone from here to here to here to here, and they just keep getting so much better. These are probably some of the best promos Jericho's ever written or given in his life, and Sammy Guevara is clearly learning from the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Chris Jericho. He is getting on a bit. He's not in the prime of his life, but damn, he can still go.
Yes.
It's fantastic. He's all these years later, I'm really hoping Sammy Guevara's promo a couple of weeks back, he called the Pinnacle dumbass fishes. I really hope we get that chant from 3,500 fans. Can you imagine? That would be sick. That would be so good. So Stadium Stampede 2, it's not a conventional wrestling match. It's an all-out brawl inside. So Daily's Place has an arena function section, and then you've got a proper stadium, a football stadium. Last year they had a Stadium Stampede where it was the Inner Circle, again, same guys, against the Elite. The Elite won that match, and they had a lot of, that was pre-recorded. It was, again, no fans because of the pandemic. A lot of camera tricky almost with Matt Hardy and Hangman Page coming in a horse. Sammy Guevara getting run over by a golf cart, and there was so much chaos, and it was so fun. And I'm wondering how they're going to top that, because I don't think you can, not with a live audience.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I think there's still be a lot of high spots. Sammy Guevara, he said he's willing to jump off the top of the stadium if it comes to it and land on people, and but it's like, oh god, he's going to land awkwardly, and injuries happen.
Yes.
So who's your pick? Who's your pick on this one? Who you got? Pinnacle or Inner Circle?
I think Inner Circle again might be partly hopeful because they've sort of the faction has evolved through this whole thing with MJF. It's changed from them being clearly the bad guys in the company to they're still kind of the bad guys, but Pinnacle
more like rebels. I think they're more like rebels at this point.
They feel like anti-heroes. And they're just so good. And like you say, the promos are amazing and all this. And I would be heartbroken if they broke up at this point. I know they did a farewell a celebration of the Inner
Celebration of the Inner Circle on Dynamite just this last Friday.
where they had like heartfelt messages to each other. If this is the end, I love you guys, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, don't go.
And then they capped that off by having the Pinnacle sort of bait them in by attacking Di Malenko, who's one of Chris Jericho's oldest friends, and they ambushed the Inner Circle and kind of beat the hell out of them, which was, whoa, okay, this is how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. It was pretty cool into Dynamite. I thought that was a really good...
It's like a little
This
sample.
is coming. Yeah, it's like, hey, Stadium Stampede's coming. That was a nice little exclamation point on the end of that Dynamite. The go home show, as WWE like to call them, the go home show for Double or Nothing.
Yeah. But I think that this celebration was, I think, trying to make it feel more like a real possibility that they were going to break up, to get that in people's minds, so that they weren't going into watching it thinking, oh, they're not going to break up the Inner Circle. So I reckon Inner Circle will win it. I think it's going to be a great match, as long as they don't try to replicate or top what they did last time. They need to go into it as if it's a new thing and not try and...
Yeah.
I think that's the only way it's going to work. I think a lot of fans are going to go into it expecting the same or better, which might make people sort of feel a bit less. I don't know, they might pull off some amazing stuff. I don't doubt they're going to bring a horse in this time, but...
Well, there's Hangman Adam Page is the horse guy, so that's the way they had the horse last time.
But I'm sure they'll do something.
And they're drinking at the barn. I think it was him and Jake Hager last year, just hitting each other with bottles and throwing each other. That was hilarious.
And like the golf cart from last time, that's been replicated in WWE. They went and stole that.
Well, they did the golf cart again a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, where they sprayed the Pinnacle with the
so good.
a bit of the bubbly.
A lot of the bubbly.
A lot of the bubbly, yeah.
Yeah, so my pick is the Inner Circle to win and MJF to be very, very angry about it.
Okay, yeah, so very much same sort of thing. I've got the Inner Circle to win the match. Thinking from a standpoint of less, I think a bit deeper, I guess, would be the Inner Circle are so hot right now.
Yeah.
They started bringing fans back into Dynamite. They've had a lot of chants, Inner Circle chants constantly. They sell merch. They make money for the company. It would be daft to be able to just go, hey, you know what, let's just split these guys up.
Yeah.
Don't doubt at all that Proud and Powerful, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, or Chris Jericho would be successful on their own. You know, Chris Jericho's multi-time world champion. Jake Hager's an actual Bellator fighter. He's a cage fighter. He fights for MMA. Proud and Powerful, they've been tag champs in I think Impact Wrestling. They've been in a couple of other companies. They've been champs. Sammy Guevara's still quite new in his career, but I've got high hopes for him. He's going to do a lot of good stuff in his career. But again, I don't think because of that, I don't think they're going to break up the Inner Circle. But imagine, so we've had Blood and Guts, which has been Inner Circle versus Pinnacle, and that was the Pinnacle winning.
Yes.
After MJF kind of took Jericho to the top, but Jericho shaved him along. So they surrendered. They said, don't throw Chris off the cage. You threw him off anyway, so he's got a dislocated elbow. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if Jericho's legitimately injured, but they're doing a damn good job of it if he isn't, because he's got the proper brace and all the wrappings, and it looks fantastic. But yeah, I think after that, so you'll have the Inner Circle win, so that's a 1-1. A third match, a rubber match, will be some new concept, something new down the line. Maybe at All Out in probably August, September time. Yeah. They might just do it on Dynamite, because Blood and Guts was on Dynamite. So they might do that at some point down the line, but there'll be that third match, that rubber match. Who's going to get this all-important win?
The once and for all kind of... Interesting. Yes.
So that's my... Sorry, we're 4 for 4 at the moment. Okay, this is where things are going to get a little bit odd, okay? So, next one is the 21-man Casino Battle Royale.
Yes.
Bear with me, I'm going to list off all the competitors.
Is it 21 because of blackjack?
Blackjack, yes, it is. The gambling casino, it's a whole gambling theme for this particular Double or Nothing event for anyone who doesn't know. So, we've got Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Will Hobbs from Team Taz, Penta El Zero Miedo, who's part of the Death Triangle, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, who are Private Party, The Blade, no Butcher, not sure what's going on with that, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston 10 Vance, all from Dark Order, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr. with the Varsity Blondes. Brian Pillman Jr. is the son of the late great Brian Pillman. Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, who are the Acclaimed. Excuse me. QT Marshall, Nick Camarato, who are part of the factory, the splintered factory, which you talked about earlier with Ogogo and Cody Rhodes. You got Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, who are part of the Nightmare family. And there's a wild card who we don't know who that is yet.
Oh.
Now,
I just picked wild card to win.
in the last couple of years, we've had things like the Casino Battle Royale, the Casino Ladder Match. Brian Cage was the wild card for that one.
Yes.
You had Ethan Page was the wild card for the ladder match at Revolution earlier this year. So there has been some really big guys, but they've never won. The wild card has never won one of these matches yet.
Okay.
Now, so mystery person, it could be someone from New Japan.
Yeah.
It could be someone like Ibushi or Kenta or Naito. Naito was out with an injury. I don't know how he's rehabbing or not. I haven't kept up with that. Recently, we saw SCU lose to the Young Bucks. So what if Christopher Daniels comes back as his fallen angel gimmick, but that nasty gash he suffered on his head,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's healed up enough, so that might not be the case. I don't think it'll be Kazarian. I think it'll definitely be something new. One thing that's not being confirmed, either way at the moment, is after the last... it was a SmackDown it was a SmackDown after WrestleMania, between WrestleMania and Backlash, was Roman Reigns beat Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan had to leave. Now the rumour is his contract's expired. If that's the case, there's no compete clause.
Yeah.
So unlike a Samoa Joe or Alexander Wolf, who can't compete for 90 days, and that's up in like mid-July, I think I looked into it, Daniel Bryan doesn't have that no compete clause if his contract has expired. So he could literally turn up here and go, hey, guess what? I'm in this Casino Battle Royale.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about Daniel Bryan in AEW.
Yeah, me neither.
I think they've got some great guys. I feel like Daniel Bryan is such a WWE guy. I don't know,
But then saying that, a lot of his early career was in Ring of Honor. He did, I believe he did a brief stint in Impact Wrestling. He did a lot of the independent scene as well.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably fit. It's just hard to imagine it at this point, I think, for me.
Yeah, but then would you class AEW as an independent, though? That's the issue. I don't know if you could.
I think it's too widespread.
Because Ring of Honor is still independent.
Yeah.
They haven't got that nationwide... They've got a worldwide presence, but it's very niche. Not many people know how to access it, how to see it. I could show you a Ring of Honor episode, you'd probably know like one of the guys on there. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so out of those, who have you got?
Okay. My want pick would be Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Because I love Jurassic Express. They're probably my favourite team at the moment and forever because there's a dinosaur. Jungle Boy's just got such talent. Whether I think he will be the winner, that's a whole different matter. I have a feeling, just while you were reading that list, that Matt Hardy could win. Yeah,
Hardy Family Office for the win, yeah.
Because there's
you've got
lot of them in there.
Yeah, your Private Party, you've got Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, and you've got the Blade as well.
And
Matt Hardy, there's 4 of them.
That in the contract that Matt gets them to sign, where they have to sign over 30% of the money they earn, that there isn't something in there about make sure Matt Hardy wins the Casino Battle Royale.
Oh, that's clever actually, that would be quite clever.
So there's a load of them in there, so they just clear the ring of everyone and then just leap over the top and Matt wins. I mean, I feel like that's something that Big Money Matt would do to secure that. It's a championship opportunity.
Yeah, so the winner of this Battle Royale gets an opportunity of the AEW World Championship at some point down the line, of their choosing. Kind of much like Money in the Bank ladder match, but it's a Battle Royale instead.
Yeah, so that's my want pick, and that would be interesting and a possible story pick.
Yeah. So I hadn't factored in want picks. I think Jungle Boy, I think I'd have to agree with that. Or I think one guy that really gets overlooked in this match, who has had Casino Battle Royale attempts and ladder match attempts, but he's never had an actual shot at it, is Penta El Zero Miedo.
Yeah,
he is so good. Like, my word, that guy is such a talent. Him and Ray Fenix together, and then you should pack in those death... Oh, they just blow my mind every time.
He's the only Death Triangle one in there, isn't
Correct,
he?
yeah. I'm not sure why Ray Fenix isn't on this card. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird. So that would be my want pick.
Cool.
My proper pick would be an if statement.
Right.
So if the wild card is Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, or wherever they bring him in as, that would be my pick.
Yes.
No. I don't want that particularly because again, I don't think Brian would be a good fit for AEW.
No, I think you're right though. If the wildcard is someone that big, they'll want to put them over big time.
Yeah, because Brian Cage is he's a big name. I knew who Brian Cage was before he hit AEW because I watched Lucha Underground, I watched Impact Wrestling. He's been in those companies as well, but he's not a name like Daniel Bryan. He's not someone who's been WWE, who's literally is the top dog in the wrestling industry. There's no qualms about that. But he didn't win the matches, and neither did Ethan Page. Ethan Page is a bit of a relative unknown if you don't know much about the company. So yeah, Brian, if he's there. If not, I think Christian Cage.
Okay.
I think Christian Cage, because he's the recent big acquisition that they had after Paul White, who is formerly known as the Big Show.
And he hasn't had a really big win yet.
He's still undefeated as well in AEW at the moment.
Isn't it like 3 or 4 matches?
Yeah, I think it's 3 at the moment. But still.
Does that count?
But still, for someone who had to retire because of a neck injury.
Yes.
And it was, I think that was about 7-8 years ago. And he's come back. He did the Royal Rumble in January for WWE. And everyone thought, he's going to sign. He's going to have Edge and Christian back together. And then at Revolution, it's like, wait, that's Christian Cage's music from Impact Wrestling. What's going on? And there's Christian Cage. A lot of people didn't like it. I freaking loved it. I think it's a fantastic fit.
It's such a surprise him coming back. It's amazing.
Absolutely love Christian Cage.
Cool.
So that's the one that we sort of semi-disagree on.
Yes, but that's fine.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people in that match, so the other one's just like 50-50 that we were going to get the same one.
Well, it's probably less than that as well, yeah. Okay, so that's all the non-title matches covered. Next we're going to the title match, which there's 5 of. So first off, on the buy-in show, so the pre-show, which is free on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe it is. We've got Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's Champion, versus Riho for the title. Now, this is a rematch from the first round of the Women's Elimination Tournament, which took place earlier this year. Spread sort of Japan and America, and they sort of had a lot of international talent take place as well, which is pretty cool. It was a really nice tournament. Like Mako Ito was there, Ryu Izunami was there, Riho took place, obviously, because she fought Serena Deeb. Deeb lost that match against Riho in that first round, but she did also suffer a knee injury, and she's been out for 3 months. She recently made a return on AEW Dynamite, defending her title against, I believe it was Red Velvet. She looked quite vicious, she looked in good shape. This should be a good match. I mean, Serena Deeb's quite tall, and Riho is like tiny, but tiny, she's a little firecracker. I mean, and if she's, Riho was the first AEW Women's Champion, and she beat Nyla Rose to win that title back, like, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was the first sort of AEW champion, inaugural champion. This could be a really good match.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised this is on the buy-in. I thought maybe the Casino Battle Royale would be on the buy-in, but an actual title match on there for free. AEW really going, hey, let's get these people in, let's entice them in, let's get them to watch a title match, something of great caliber, because I believe these guys are going to have a fantastic match. And then they'll obviously lead to those eventual pay-per-view buys. So, yeah, Serena Deeb versus Riho. Who you got?
It's a tricky one. I don't feel like I know Deeb enough at all. I haven't seen much of her. And Riho I've seen quite a bit of, and she's great. So I think I'm just going to have to say her because...
So you going for Riho?
Yeah, I think... I don't know enough to really give an educated guess on this one, I don't think.
I don't quite know what the relationship between the NWA, the Northern Wrestling Alliance, and the or National Wrestling Alliance, sorry, and AEW is, but this is where we're going to disagree. I don't think they would let Riho hold that title. I just don't get that impression. Serena Deeb's been out for 3 months with a knee injury. They come back and she looks fantastic. She looks brutal. She brutalized Red Velvet in that match on Dynamite. I just don't see it. I think Deeb's going to win it. But then it's also like, oh, you screwed up my knee during this first round of title tournament. She's going to take that out on Riho, something bad. You cost me 3 months of my career.
Yeah.
And I'm going to really take it out on you. And I think she's going to go in completely vicious. Riho isn't going to know what's going to hit her. And I think Serena Deeb's going to retain on that one.
This is where you see the difference in our knowledge levels. Because now I completely agree with you. But yeah, I can't take my pick back. But I see exactly what you mean.
So sticking with the females, there's only 2 women's matches on this particular card. I'm not sure quite why.
Yeah, and only one in the main show.
Yeah, which the other match is going to be Hikaru Shida, the current AEW Women's Champion, against Britt Baker, D.M.D, as she likes to remind everyone. So I think it was very early last year was the last time they met. And during that match, Britt Baker suffered a broken nose by Hikaru Shida. I don't remember that match very well. I remember seeing the blood from the nose. I don't remember much else about that particular one. I can barely remember it last week, let alone last year. So I think that Baker's kind of feel this is personal.
Yeah.
And she's going to come into this with a fury of a hurricane, and she really wants that title. She's had matches with a lot of the other female competitors recently, and she's been tearing it up, a fierce storm. Last Double or Nothing as well, literally a year ago, they had the celebration on Dynamite just gone. 23rd of May, 2020, Hikaru Shida defeated Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship. So it's been over a year, and she's literally the longest reigning champion, in AEW since its inception. Which is, and you've got John Moxley's held the men's title, you've had Jericho hold the men's title, Kenny Omega's held the men's, and none of them have had that long a title reign as Hikaru Shida has. And she's the third, I think it was Riho, then Nyla Rose, then Hikaru Shida. Yeah, those are the only three women who have held that AEW title. And they obviously presented with a new belt, looks fantastic. Looks a bit bigger, the previous one looked a bit too small, I felt.
Too dainty.
Yeah, especially when you've got someone like, no offense, Nyla Rose, she's quite a large person. You've got Nyla Rose holding this dainty strap, and it's like...
It doesn't quite suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's one thing I do like in WWE is the belts are pretty much all the same size.
Yes, yeah.
They're a bit smaller, but not much. But they stand out. The former AEW title, women's title, didn't really stand out as much.
No.
When you look at the men's one, it's a massive plate. Reminds me of the old WCW title, that gold massive belt. Yeah, so with that, as I say, Baker is probably going to be up for revenge for the broken nose. She feels that she's been jaded. She had a lot of time away from the ring because of the broken nose. But yeah, so Hikaru Shida has been tearing it up. She fought Nyla Rose multiple occasions, and she's beaten Nyla Rose clean. I think the last defense was against Nyla Rose in a no disqualification match, and she just lapped 7 bells out of her, and she won. She won clean against someone like Nyla Rose.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Who you got, Leanne?
I think Britt Baker's going to win, but not clean. That's my thing. I think that it's time for the belt to go to someone else. It's been a great run, and but it does need to move on at some point. I think Britt Baker will be evil but amazing with that title. Yeah, she's not going to do it without cheating, though. There's definitely going to be something. Yeah,
well, you've got Reba, not Rebel, or Rebel, not Reba, whichever way around it is this particular week. I think it's Rebel, not Reba at this particular moment. So. She's in a corner. I have to agree. I think there will be some shenanigans.
Yeah.
Whether or not it comes from Rebel or Britt Baker herself, or maybe a third party.
Both.
Maybe a third party.
Yeah.
Who's to say they don't get someone from Japan who might be an opponent of Hikaru's from the past?
Oh, Tony Schiavone just joined in.
Tony Schiavone. Oh man, that'd be great. But no, I think I agree with that one. It is time for a new champion. I'd like Hikaru Shida. I think she'd be fantastic.
She's great,
but it's time for a new face, I think.
Yeah, I think she'll feel the same way as well, because she knows the business, she knows what it needs.
Yeah, and I think the only qualms is with Britt Baker champion for me. The last couple of months, maybe the last 2 months or so, she's felt a little bit like Charlotte Flair, where she's trying to inject herself into everything to do with the women's division.
Yes.
And I don't like that.
I think compared to Charlotte Flair, with Britt Baker, it feels more like it's part of the character. And
she's a dentist, she's a practitioner of dentist
D.M.D,
medicine.
She is. Everyone needs to know this.
Yeah.
I think it works better with Britt Baker than Charlotte Flair, in my opinion. And maybe having the belt, it will then change the dynamic again. She'll probably still want to be part of everything.
Rags is chiming in. What do you think is Britt Baker as well, Rags?
Oh, he likes Charlotte Flair.
Is that a woo? He's like a little woo.
Yeah.
Hey, Rags. Here he comes.
That's what I think, anyways.
No, I completely agree with that one. So next up is, we talked about Hangman Page and Brian Cage earlier as going to be like a slugfest.
Yes.
This will be the proper slugfest of the night, and it's going to be the new, recently captured, 3 weeks ago, TNT champion, Miro, versus the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. This is going to be off the hook. I think this will just be...
they need to reinforce the ring.
I think so. Maybe reinforce the referee. Because if the referee puts one foot out of place, neither Miro nor Lance Archer are going to have any problems with just smacking the ref.
Nope.
You know? Yeah, so he, as we covered earlier, Miro beat Darby Allin for the title around about 3 weeks ago. I think the problem with that was he had about a £100 advantage, if not more, on Darby Allin. Like, Darby Allin's quite skinny, he's a weed.
And he can do a lot with it.
Yeah. Like, that match was crazy good. Like, he was throwing himself at Miro. But Miro is just a mass. He's a muscle mass, and he's a big man.
And he's an angry big man.
He's an intimidating person. I would not want to bump into him in a bad mood, you know. But yeah, so he's been much more vicious as well since his split with Kip Sabian.
Yes.
Who we've not seen for, I think, 4 or 5 weeks since Miro attacked him. I can't even remember how that came about. We just go backstage and Miro's just smashing the hell out of Kip Sabian. It's like, what's going on? You know?
He did apologise in
a
kind of scary...
Maybe they've gone for their honeymoon. Maybe that's what it is. They've written off because they've gone on their honeymoon. It's possible. Yeah. We haven't seen Penelope Ford since that either.
That makes sense.
So Lance Archer's experience with the TNT title, he actually competed for the TNT title in the inauguration match against Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes beat him, became the first TNT champion. Makes sense. Cody Rhodes still remains the only 2-time TNT champion. After beating Brody Lee in the dog collar match. I think it was November last year after Cody came back from an injury. But yeah, so they've both had some sort of experience with the TNT title, whether it's been as a challenger or Miro actually holding the title. But yeah, who you got?
Miro hasn't had the title for long.
Nope, about 3 weeks.
I feel like it would be too soon for a man that good, that big, to lose it. But it is, again, with his opponent. It's a tough call.
I mean, we saw them sort of square off a little bit on Dynamite, and Lance Archer's probably got a good sort of 8 inches on him.
It's a really tough call, this one, to be honest. I want Lance Archer to win, I think. So I might make that my pick. But then he's been running to the aid of... Was he running to the aid of Sting? So...
Which we still don't know why.
Yeah, it's still something unresolved. So I don't know whether we need the title to stay on Miro so we can get more of what that is. Or is having the title going to develop that more?
Who's to say he wasn't coming to the aid of Darby Allin? Because he was the TNT champion.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to go with Lance Archer because I think because it's such a close call for me, and that's the one that I want to win, I think we'll go with that.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I think Miro's going to keep the belt.
Yeah.
I don't believe AEW would flip and flop titles like WWE does. Like Drew McIntyre lost the title, like 3 weeks later he wins it back, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. This is how you get John Cena and Randy Orton up to like 14-time champions, 15-time champions. True. I hate that. There's a whole point quite a few years back with Cena and Orton. You'd have September, Cena would be champ. October, Randy Orton win it. November, Cena would win it. December, Orton would win it. And it's just like, really, it's kind of like Charlotte Flair as well with the women's title with Sasha Banks. They dropped the title back and forth quite a lot as well at one point, which was just frustrating. I can see Miro threatening or attacking Jake outside the ring, baiting Lance Archer in, and Lance Archer losing his cool, going running for Miro, for example, and just straight into the ring post, gives Miro the advantage. I think Miro's going to retain.
Yeah, that's
my inclination.
Do you think that during or after the match something will happen where Miro is just beating on Lance Archer and Sting and Darby Allin come to his
That would be
aid?
cool. That would be really
sort
cool.
Of bring that into it, because
that would be nice.
Something needs to happen to develop that bit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise everyone's just like,
yeah. I think that would be a good way to sort of end that if Lance Archer does lose. Like have Miro just in that submission, the camel clutch submission, the accolade. I don't think they're calling it the accolade in AEW. They called it the accolade in WWE when he was Rusev. But he was cranking on it, like he wrenches right back. He doesn't let go. But yeah, I was to say Sting and Darby Allin don't come out. Obviously, Darby Allin's got a beef with Miro still because he beat him for the title. He wants his rematch, I'm assuming. So that could lead into that as well. So I've left the elite matches for last because the elite are the elite. So first up, we got the Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson, against John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. So that's been a bit of an interesting one. So we saw Moxley and Eddie trash the Young Bucks or the Elite's locker room, and that's kind of spawned that out. The team of Moxley and Eddie Kingston's quite a relatively new one. They are really close friends in real life, but I think they were ranked number 4. They've won a match on Dynamite, and they've obviously sprung up to number 1 because the Young Bucks have said, right, we want to fight them at Double or Nothing, and it sort of sprung from there. Not really much else to say about the feud on that one. I mean, apart from the fact that they stole their shoes and buried them. That was
They were expensive shoes.
Not just the shoes, but the socks as well. I don't quite understand that.
Oh, they didn't bury. I don't think they buried the socks. I think Kingston pocketed them.
The other Buck had them off as well. So whether Eddie Kingston stole his or John Moxley stole his, I do not know. That was a bit grim. I don't really want to see guys pulling socks off other guys. That was a bit odd. Like shoes, okay, fair enough. They keep making this thing about, hey, look, we've got expensive shoes. And those the trainers they had on the shoes had Dior on the bottom, so they were proper branded shoes.
Showing them off.
But yeah, that was weird. So Bucks versus Kingston and Moxley. Who you got?
It's another interesting one because both teams are amazing. Obviously, the Young Bucks have the tag team experience and super.
Oh, they're legit brothers in life as well.
Yes. So they've got countless years of experience and skill. Moxley and Kingston don't have that experience together, but they gel so well naturally.
You got to think as well, Moxley is a former heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, they're both individually amazing, and together, we haven't seen them much wrestling together.
Like the last month at most.
Yeah. But
we've seen them feuding more than anything, which is again they've kind of brothership through battle, I guess it would be called. Yes. Obviously after the whole thing with Kenny Omega and the Elite during the barbed wire massacre match at Revolution.
Yeah, but just like that, they're both insane, and I love it. It is a tricky one. I think that the Young Bucks will win. But again, there will be cheating involved.
Shenanigans.
There will be shenanigans.
Okay.
Possibly some of the rest of the Elite. Tony Blanchard.
Tony Blanchard, not with the Elite.
Not him. The other one.
What's
his face with the sunglasses?
With the sunglasses? Don Callis.
Yeah, him.
Don Callis,
him.
yeah.
That one.
See, I think I'd be less inclined to say Don Callis will be out there because he'll be prepping with Kenny, which we'll cover in a moment. I think Good Brothers... Brandon Cutler, the personal whipping boy of the Young Bucks. Probably Michael Nakazawa, because he's been sort of coming out with the Young Bucks as well recently, and that whole entourage. They'll get involved at some point behind the referee's back, intended obviously not to get them disqualified or whatever. I have to agree, the Bucks will retain.
Yeah.
Primarily on the fact of John Moxley's wife, Renee, is around 36, 37 weeks pregnant.
Okay, yeah.
So, much like Cody, he's going to probably want some time off shortly.
So he needs a bit of an injury, possibly.
So yeah, they're not going to give a title championship, tag team championship to someone who needs to take time off.
No, that's very true.
It sucks for Eddie Kingston.
Yeah. They'll get other opportunities though, I'm sure. And he'll still get to do a singles run.
Yeah.
Probably while Moxley's off.
Well, that's the thing about Eddie Kingston at the moment. We've only seen him in a team of sorts. So previously, at the moment he's with John Moxley, previously he was with the Butcher and the Bunny and the Blade.
Yes.
Who've now defected to Hardy family office. Yeah. So they've all teamed up with them. So Eddie Kingston kind of found himself sort of floating. And he's kind of gravitated towards John Moxley after Revolution. And it's been great. I think they're both fantastic. Their promos are amazing. They're both really good on the stick. They're both violent. So you've got this high-flying team against this pure hardcore brawler team. It's a very big clash of styles.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of catching people out of the air.
Yeah. Moxley and Kingston aren't afraid to throw themselves at others. But yeah, Good Brothers will get involved most likely. Michael Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler will probably get involved as well. Game of numbers, you can't beat 6 people as you 2. No. You can't. And then they'll probably have a massive beatdown at the end. The referees come and break it up. Moxley's injured. He gets to spend time, have his child with his wife. And Kingston has a bit of time off, maybe. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just sort of finds a new partner and goes after the Young Bucks. Who knows?
Or you could just keep the story going and he could just do promos for a bit.
Yeah.
Keeping it going about how Moxley's injured and they're gonna get their own back kind of thing. Prepping it for when Moxley comes back, and then they have some massive return match with them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Rematch kind of thing.
That'd be cool. Okay, so I think we've gone a bit longer than I was expecting, but it doesn't matter.
Lots to talk about.
So there's absolutely a lot. But we're on to the last match now, which is the main event. So we've got the champion, the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega, versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac. I'm not going to say the full name because we're going to keep this as friendly as we can. Pac. So bit of history of this one. Orange Cassidy, quite a, what's the word I want to use? Unconventional in-ring style, but he has beaten Chris Jericho twice in AEW.
He's so good.
He is. And you wouldn't think it. He's got this very nonchalant, like, thumbs up kind of thing, and his hands in the pockets guy, and it's like, this guy, I could never imagine being in an actual world title match.
I know.
But yet, here we are. We're hours away from it.
Yeah, comes across as lazy until he tries.
Oh yeah, boy
and
does
then
he go.
He tries.
Boy does he go.
Yeah.
So on the other side of that, then we've got Pac, who you might know if you watched WWE back in the days. Neville is the same guy as Pac. He's the only person to beat Kenny Omega in AEW. Not once, but twice.
Wow.
First time was at All Out, the All Out pay-per-view in 2019. And the second time was on an episode of Dynamite where they had a 30-minute Iron Man match, which was phenomenal. But does that get in the head of Kenny Omega?
Possibly.
You know? I loved the bits on Dynamite in the last couple of weeks where they had the number one contenders match between Pac and Orange Cassidy, and Kenny Omega got involved, and there's a double count out, and then they go to the back and Orange Cassidy's injured, and he just tears at that contract ever so slowly, and it just looks so satisfying.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Omega gives him, Don Callis gives him another one. Kenny's like, I want your answer next week. Comes out and he opens the envelope, it's just shredded, and then he drops Kenny, and then Pac's in the ring, and he drops Pac, and it's like, oh God, could Orange Cassidy actually win this thing? Oh, what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But then on the other side of that, before the whole thing with Orange Cassidy this week on Dynamite, was Pac giving a very intense promo. Alex Marvez was trying to interview him. He's like, give me the mic, get out of it. And he just goes off on this massive spiel tirade of how no one can bet against him. He's beaten Kenny Omega. He's so intense, and he looks jacked. He's he's in such good shape right now.
For sure.
But yeah, so last match, triple threat. By the way, the first time the AEW World Championship has been defended in a triple threat match ever. Who you got?
Okay, this one is tricky because all three of them could be the winner, and all three of them I think would be a great match whoever wins, because they're all so different but so great. I would love Orange Cassidy to win. I think that would be just amazing. I think you were saying earlier that imagine him with the belt, with his lazy persona, he'd just be dragging it down the ramp. It would be hilarious. I don't think he will win, but it's sort of, if I had my one to pick. I think my pick would be Pac to win.
Okay.
But if Omega gets his way, there will be cheating involved and he will win.
The issue with the triple threat is there's no disqualification.
Yeah.
So is it really cheating?
Very true. Very true.
So
I think I'm going to go with Pac.
Pac?
It's just the power and that intensity. And I think he deserves to get some gold and see what he can do with it.
I mean, that's fair. He got stranded in Britain. He couldn't travel to the States to compete for AEW during the pandemic because there was no flights. Nobody could travel out of Britain to America. And he sat on the sidelines for a good, I think it was about 8 or 10 months, coming back, and he's been so fired up and so intense. He's been fantastic. So you're going with Pac?
I'm going to go with Pac, yes.
Okay, so this is another one we're going to disagree on. Because
Omega's your boy.
Because Kenny Omega is my boy. The Elite are not losing any belts.
Okay.
They're not losing any of their gold tonight. Absolutely not. The way I see it going down, Kenny Omega beats Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Pac isn't involved in the count, in the decision at all. Gotcha. So like maybe Kenny V triggers him or Warring's Angel Man. Orange Cassidy blindsides Kenny. They have a scrap. hits the one-winged angel on Orange Cassidy. 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega retains.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going down the road, that this is, again, I'm thinking more the point of future
Yes.
stories. So we've already covered that Pac has beaten Kenny Omega in AEW, not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, much like I predicted with, was it WrestleMania Backlash? You had Asuka, Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair.
Yes.
Exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kenny Omega beats Orange Cassidy. Pac isn't involved in the decision. Next week on Dynamite, didn't beat me. I want my one-on-one match.
Yeah.
But then Kenny will beat Pac at that match as a vindication for losing twice. That's the way I see it going down.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I got my boy Kenny. I've got to stick with Kenny. He's
Fair
my boy.
enough, yeah.
He's my boy. He's the human highlight reel.
I'm just going to change my pick to Cassidy for fun. Orange Cassidy is my spirit animal. No.
Certainly your work ethic animal. What? Ooh!
Hey!
Yeah, so there we have it. So we'll be putting another video up tomorrow after we've watched the event. We'll talk more about how the event panned out, how our predictions went, and that might not be as long, but don't hold us to that one because this one has kind of
It
turned
will
a bit
be
long,
a
but-
certain length.
yeah, we shall see. So yeah, enjoy the event tonight. Root for Kenny Omega.
Cassidy.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, follow us on social medias, hit that bell button, make sure you get notifications when a video goes up, and we shall catch you after the event.